Hey guys, what's up? We're gonna play some Pathfinder Kingmaker. This is a CRPG title, so similar if you've played in the past, Baldur's Gate, Path of Exile, not Path of Exile, Pillars of Eternity. Um, those are CRPG kind of games where it's a role-playing game. You control a party. It's not turn-based. It's I guess real-time action, but you uh, pause it. So you tend to pause it, give commands, let it play out. If you need to change commands, pause it again, that sort of thing. I've been playing the Pathfinder tabletop game for a long time. Before that, I played Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, 3.0, first and second edition. So I was really, yeah, I really enjoy the Pathfinder system. So I was happy to see a game come out with uh, its system as a base. I would have preferred a turn-based game, but all your kind of big successful uh, games of this type in the past have been CRPGs. So it's not surprising that that's the kind of game they make. Now, I've read some about this game. There was some issues when it was first launched, and depending on which side you believe, it was really imbalanced, or it was perfectly fine, and everyone just needed to get good. You know, but I want to play a game to have kind of like as close to the tabletop experience as possible. And this is one thing that I think contributed to the issues at launch. Is there's you can see there's 6 different um, difficult settings, but none of them are really what I would consider a normal mode, even though this one says normal mode. Because to me, a normal mode is that there's neither um, bonuses nor penalties. Is everything is just at a flat where it's supposed to be. But when you look at normal difficulty here, it says that the damage is reduced by 20%, enemies inflict reduced damage on critical hits, and you will not die after suffering a deadly injury for the first time. Also, if we look down here at enemy stat adjustments, you have somewhat easier enemies. If we go to challenge mode, then it says that your characters take full damage, enemies fight at full power, the usual chances of inflicting critical hits, and your character will die after suffering a deadly injury. And so to me, this would be, based on this description, what normal mode should be. However, if you come down here to enemy stat adjustments, you get somewhat tougher enemies. So there's no pre-built difficulty mode that actually uses the normal enemy condition. And from what I've read and what the devs have said, kind of the closest you can get to the tabletop version is to pick challenging mode and then choose normal enemies. And that brings us to a custom mode, which is fine. I mean, the main drawback is um, you won't get any achievements tied to playing in the pre-made difficulties, but there should be enough replayability in the game that we're going to play again, and we'll come back and we'll play on these modes over here. I don't really have a lot of interest in playing in the reduced difficulty, but I know at least the word on the street a couple days ago was that unfair mode was pretty much impossible. Um, However, there was a patch that came out, I think yesterday, which might have changed things. Nevertheless, we're gonna give it a go on this custom setting that we had, where we're gonna take challenge mode and then no more enemies. All right. Now they do have some pre-made characters here, but a big part of the fun of Pathfinder type games is making your own character. And even if you know nothing about Pathfinder, it's pretty easy to figure out. So I definitely recommend creating your own character. Now here we have the portraits, which I mean to me is a little weird. I don't you don't usually know what you're gonna play when you first. Well, some people do, I guess, but uh, a lot of times when I go to play, I don't know what I'm gonna play exactly, and so choosing like the portrait identity first is a little weird. But it is possible to skip ahead up here and then come back to portrait last. Um, to create our character, I want to kind of approach it as if I was playing the tabletop game, which means I want a character concept and kind of a story for the character, and have that influence the character rather than just picking um, what I think is going to be best in the game. There's nothing wrong with that approach. I just do it the way that I like to do it, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with just picking what you think will be fun. So you can see here that they have all the base races plus Asmir, which is like a pretty much like a human that has a good aligned outsider um, blood mixed in somewhere in the past in the bloodline. So they have some of those kind of good extraplanar traits mixed in. But for this, I want to do a human just to make it kind of a standard for the first playthrough. Um, and I need a motivation for that character to want to go out into this dangerous, uncharted land and found a new kingdom. There are many reasons why this could be. Could be power hungry. They could have like a radical governmental idea or economic idea or social idea that they want a place to live. Um, or they could just not belong anywhere else and they want to find a place for themselves and potentially the people they care about as well to have a place where they can belong. And I'm sure that we can come up with other ones as well. Those are the three that I can think of immediately. And I want my character to fall into that third category where he's looking for a place to belong and looking for a place where someone who's important to him can also belong. And so to have that desire to find a place where they can belong, that means that they have to have a feeling that they don't belong. And for a human, as lore wise, like the most populous race, um, that's not going to be typical for a human. But the nice thing about storytelling is that you can take a character and take it outside of the expected norms and give it a new spin and perspective. So for me, this human, he would have been at young, 3 to 5 years old. His father was widowed. Met an elf woman. They fell in love, and so they moved with her to her village where she lived. And so now, at a very young age, he's the only human child uh, in this environment. And uh, shortly after that, he had a half sister born who is a half elf. And being a half elf, she automatically kind of has that status of not belonging to either culture and kind of being on the marginalized edge of culture. And shortly after that, the father died of an accident, and so we're gonna say that by the time he was 8, right, he was the only human left in this elven village. He has a younger half sister that he cares about who is also marginalized because of her uh, mixed race. And so as he grew up, he would be influenced by that elven culture because that's where he learned his skills, learned his ideology. That's where he became an adult. His perceptions were getting formed by growing up there, but he'd also never fit in. Like he was never as graceful as the elf, um, not as intelligent as your average elf. So he might have leaned further into his human strength, and that set him apart. Probably as a point of pride, because it's something he could do that elves couldn't do, and potentially as a point of envy as well from the elves, just as their grace and their intellect was probably a point of envy for him. Um, and then at some point, as a young adult, he left that village and went to a human town, Riddleport, which is a kind of pirate port. And he was really dismayed at how dirty and crime-ridden and vicious that humans were to each other. So you figure if he grew up with this idea of like, well, the elves don't really accept me. I'm a human. I need to get to Human Town, and it'll be better. And then he gets to Human Town, and it's not better. Um, that could really put some resentment towards his fellow humans because it really shattered his expectations that he had. So when this call goes out for adventurers to go into these stolen lands and make a new kingdom, um, like he really jumped at that as a chance to make a place that he could belong, and also that his sister could belong. And so that's kind of his motivation going into this. And if we take that and we start building a character around it, let's see what we got here. Right, we might say that growing up on an elven diet, he might be more slender than your average human. So we'll go with the spy type 3. I don't think the faces really matter that much. I don't want a permanent grimace or frown. So we'll go with face 4. Skin tone's fine. Hairstyle. You know, it seems like it's a prerequisite now that every um, RPG has to have a mohawk in it. uh, so I kind of like hairstyle 2 the best. And then he'll probably have a beard. Be crazy from there. Yeah, kind of gets crazy from there. Why is that different color? Weird. Alright, we're gonna go kind of like standard beard. Let's give him some black hair. Alright. He'd be right-handed, that's fine. I can't imagine that makes an actual difference. And then, okay, so your classes. So, okay, so these are prestige classes, so they have requirements to get into. That's why we can't choose them now. They have all the base classes, and then they have 3 extra classes: the Alchemist, the Inquisitor, and the Magus that came from uh, Player's Handbook or Ultimate Magus, or no, was it Advanced Player's Guide? Whatever the case, they came from later books. Magus I really like as an interesting class. They're kind of a what's going on here? There you go. A little bit of lag. The kind of a hybrid fighter wizard that focuses on touch attack spells. But I don't want to use it for my first playthrough because they are um, what's called MAD, multi-ability score dependent. Um, because you fight melee, you want all your physical abilities to be fairly high. You need a high intelligence for your spells, and you need a high charisma for your arcane pool, which they do have, and a spell combat. So I really need to, want to commend Alcat Games for really implementing um, these class and race features. If you look here at Dwarf, I apologize for the lag. I'm not sure what's going on with the game right now. It's pretty bad though. Or the gnome. Let's look at it. They have their abilities built in, which a lot of times are left out or really toned down and marginalized in these games. You can see they don't have dark vision or low light vision, uh, which makes sense because what would happen is if you selected a human and it's dark, you would see only so much area, and if you selected an elf, you would see more area, and if you selected a dwarf, you can see a different area and in a completely different way. And when you have this thing where it's having to basically redraw the map, um, and the display distance constantly when you select someone, that really is system intensive. It can slow the game down a lot. Um, so it's beneficial that they left it out. They replaced it with keen senses on everyone who had dark vision or low light vision. Although I think elves, halflings, and half elves always had keen senses. So they kind of took a loss, and gnomes and dwarves gained keen senses. Half orcs are supposed to have keen senses, but you can see it's not listed here. So they might have got the short end of the stick there. Um, but going back to class, if we think of kind of your stereotypical elven uh, pursuits, that would be classes, right? Definitely wizard is up there. Um, that's a big one. Nature, uh, nature kind of professions. So your ranger and your druid are gonna be big ones. Alchemist is another good possibility. Uh, Bard would be up there. They have religion, so they're gonna have clerics and paladins, uh, and of course, everyone has fighters. Um, so of these, I think I'm going to lean toward ranger. It's very elven themed, um, so it shows that kind of influence on the character. Where as he grew up, the elves imparted their love of nature, their stewardship of nature, and their skill in nature to him. Um, but he'd have his own theme, having leaned towards um, his human strength. He would probably uh, not be the stereotypical, um, archer ranger or two-woman fighting ranger. He would lean more towards, maybe two-handed weapon fighting or agile or um, one of the other styles they have. Frequency is favorite enemy. So here's your combat style. So second level. I wish they would list what they have because back in the day, you only had ranged and two-weapon fighting. But in the state of the game now, they have a whole bunch they can choose from, including two-handed weapon fighting, like agile, menacing. Um, they have a range that doesn't, or I should that gives your ranger a lot of flexibility in how they want to play. So hopefully they have those styles because since we won't know till we get to second level, it will be a little bit disappointing if we get to second level and we can only choose range or two-weapon fighting. But it's a risk that we will have to take. Uh, so these are archetypes. These are variations of a class around a theme. Um, yeah, I think they have 3 archetypes for every class. First, we're gonna go with a standard ranger. Uh, Having gone to Vitaport, he could have been a freebooter, but I don't think he spent enough time there to really adapt to a pirate kind of um, skill set. So he's gonna have that basic ranger. He has no reason to be fire or lightning kind of elemental affinities. So base ranger makes the most sense. So here we get into the kind of nitty gritty of it. They have combined skills somewhat, which is to be expected. There, it'd be a lot of skills to code individually. Um, so let's look at this. He leaned into his human strength, We still want good decks though for armor class, and just for being, you know, a fairly nimble ranger raised among elves. A good constitution, so we have some hit points and don't die immediately. Wisdom, we need at least 4 to be able to cast our spells eventually. And so that leaves us with 5 points and a choice between intelligence, charisma, and strength. Well, if he grew up as kind of like a socially marginalized person, he's probably not super charismatic. So we're going to leave that at the base 10. He probably wouldn't have thought he could compete intellectually with the elves. And so we're going to say that he really uh, focused on his strength. And that'll bring us up to a 16. And then we can put our human bonus also into strength, and that'll bring us to an 18, which is a pretty high score. I mean, you could probably get to 20 if you wanted to start taking negative numbers, but I hate um, uh, taking scores or what they call a dump stat. I don't mind leaving something at 10, but I'm not gonna drop this down to 7 so I can put more points into other skills. So that's kind of where we have a strength focused person who is above average in his dexterity and constitution, average intelligence, a little wiser than an average, and average charisma. And the skills, we'll take athletics, knowledge, world, lore, nature, perception. And even though he's not super charismatic and not very social, he has had to stand up for himself and himself and his sister. So we are going to put some points in persuasion. Um, I think what I want to do is, as we adventure, as he gains experience, um, working in a party, working with others, I think as we level up, I want to increase his charisma to reflect that he is gaining the skill in dealing with other people. So I think that'll be fun. Go to abilities. So we have um, okay. So we have our regular feat for first level, and we have our human bonus feat, and then we have favorite enemy. Okay. So to kind of give him a tie to his elven heritage or his elven cultural heritage, I want to take a exotic weapon proficiency, and then take exotic weapon proficiency with the elven curve blade. And then for my other feat, I want to take weapon focus uh, with that elven curve blade. So, um, you know, his tie that everyone can see that ties him to this elven upbringing is that he is adept with one of these really graceful elven weapons. He's not just using a standard, two-handed sword or patched sword or long sword. He's using an elven curved blade, and that kind of sets him apart a little bit from a standard human. But at the same time, favorite enemy, I think he's going to take that sense of disappointment with human society that he got when he left the elven culture, um, and turn that into some resentment towards other humans, and take favorite enemy humans as his first favorite enemy. I think you can make a fair, equal argument for elves, but I think for him, humans make the most sense, and the way that we have come up with his story so far. Okay. Uh, I think he is going to want. He is a good person. Um, he grew up in an elven society, which is fairly chaotic. Um, so maybe he doesn't like that kind of freewheeling, unorganized style as much, because humans tend to be lawful by nature. Um, so I think basically he's a good person, and so I'm gonna put him at neutral good, where he kind of does good for the sake of good. Right? He doesn't want to destroy the elves. He doesn't want to destroy the humans, even though he's um, disappointed with humanity. Uh, he basically wants to do good by himself, do good for his sister. Um, and now we're gonna go back to the portraits. And they don't have a huge selection of portraits, but there is the ability to import your own portraits, which is the route I've gone because of the portraits. This one's cool, but it's more spellcastery. I really like this one, um, but he can tell. I mean, he's a much older human, and he's middle aged. And then this one has kind of the right build, but I just don't like his face, and I hate that he has white hair. So I went in earlier and imported a character, and so we're gonna have this guy be our representation. So I'm gonna take that, and then also when we are at, I think, class, we can choose. Did it change the body type? There we go. It's weird. Um, we can choose our colors here, and so if we look at the portrait, it's kind of like white and brown. So let's see if we can match that a little bit. Okay. Not your typical ranger colors, and the portrait is probably more of a fighter portrait, but I think it works well for what we're doing. Maybe we can switch them around and do like the brown for the primary and white for the secondary, and that might give us a little more rangery vibe. Okay, so coming down character, voice.
I'm always ready. You're done for.
Enemy near.
Spell's not working like that.
We will be victorious.
He's probably fairly pragmatic,
Time's not waiting.
so we'll go with pragmatic. Let's give him sure. Okay, it's good. And I believe we are done here. Oh, we got a name. We need a name. All right, so Mr. Van, and then his father's name was, or family name was De Vega. Mr. Van De Vega. All right. Everything was good. Uh, only have 13 hit points, which is, not ideal. But that's about what you're going to get. That's about what you can hope for at first level, right? So we're going to complete. And so it kind of has like this book scene going on, which, makes sense. Um, this uh, kind of sketching here makes me think of Pillars of Eternity. Their skill test stuff, which is not a bad thing. I thought that was a good part of Pillars of Eternity overall. That's great. The first of the river freedoms. Say what you will, I live free. It doesn't mean you won't get beaten up for what you say, though. Elena the innkeeper, whoever Elena is. We got some voices coming in, so hopefully we'll finish loading soon. It's going pretty slow today.
Our story started at the mansion of an Aldori sword lord. Drawn by the promise of a most dangerous task and a commensurately huge reward, heroes of all stripes gathered here.
Okay.
Where are they? This is taking forever. It didn't even say what this was for, just that the Aldori were looking for heroes. Who are the Aldori anyway? Rich folk?
But I appreciate that they have all this voice acting. That's a lot of work and effort. This is interesting. This is Amiri. This is the I don't know what they call it exactly, but it's the official Pathfinder barbarian character class, right? Whenever they um, show a barbarian character, it's always this Amiri person. So I don't know if they call her the barbarian parent. I don't know what they call her, but it's the official version of the barbarian for Pathfinder. Um, so it's interesting that they have her here, and a nice little nod to the game.
If you can't be patient, no one's keeping you here. Just go back to your mountains or whatever hole you crawled out of. The Aldori Sword Lords run the premier school for the dueling arts. They're also the richest and most influential group in this part of Brevoy.
So the green
If you help
words
them out,
have
they'll
information.
teach you some manners pretty quickly.
I'm not sure if this is a knowledge based check or if it's just you get it no matter what.
All right, you purple toad, just shut your trap. And if you can't, I'll help you.
Okay, so they don't like each other.
Hush! Quiet! They're coming.
Greetings, everyone. I am Sword Lord Jamandi Aldori, and this is Lord Mayor Yosef Selenius of Restall.
Selenius,
Welcome to
that's
my mansion.
a good name. Roll off the tongue.
We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for responding to our call. We may be few, but that's unavoidable. We need only the best of the best for this task.
Okay.
And I see true heroes before me, strong and fierce. Exactly what Restov needs.
The mayor is a little flowery in speech, it seems like.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Now, to the point. South of Hicks, just beyond Brevoy's border, lies a region known as the Stolen Lands. This is disputed territory, and while it's long been claimed by nearby states, it's never been truly taken. I won't bore you with the legal technicalities. Suffice to say that anyone with enough courage and power to seize the stolen lands and name themselves Baron or Baroness, claiming dominion, well, none of the neighboring states would be able to challenge it. Of course, Restov would be first to recognize the legitimacy of this new state, as
Okay.
well as the noble title of its founder.
So we get to be noble if we claim it.
Unfortunately, one serious obstacle stands between you and this title. A gang of bandits holds sway in the Stolen Lands. Their chief, who they call the Stag Lord, considers himself the rightful owner of these lands, and no one has yet been able to challenge his power. Bring me his head, and you'll be able to return to the Stolen Lands as their legal ruler. Any questions?
Sure, I have fun. So it's the whole team of us. Who exactly will see the Baron's title?
I will, of course. I'm the leader of this team, after all.
Didn't
Don't
expect
worry,
that.
though. I'll make it worth your while to help me.
Okay. Arrogant.
We haven't yet begun, and you already speak of divvying rewards. What makes you think we'll even succeed? There's little point arguing over who gains the title when we'll most likely lose our lives there.
So two things. His voice is funny, and he seems to be a little pessimistic.
If I may please answer the question.
Please do.
We believe you're all equally deserving of a noble title. Over the course of your expedition, it will be up to you
Okay. So they totally just passed the buck to us, and I'm sure that's not going to cause any conflicts. Uh, you're helping us find the barony. What do you gain from such generosity?
Don't ask stupid questions. Why should you even care?
Man, I am not
What we
talking to
have to
you.
gain and why, that's for Lady Aldori and I to discuss. It's none of your concern. Your only concern is to swing your sword around or whatever it is you do.
Okay, accurate.
Of course, we stand to benefit from this enterprise. But if you're concerned that we intend to rule your country from afar, using you as a front, please know that these concerns are unfounded. Let's just say that we have a strong interest in the region's stability. We have need of a ruling power we can negotiate with, not bandit gangs and monster hordes.
Using you as a front to rule from afar is a pretty specific example, and exactly what I'm worried about. Um, Nevertheless, if we look at the rest of the questions for my character, I already know why they don't want to recognize Staglord because he won't cooperate with them, and this seems too greedy for my character. So we're going to go straight to as clear as day.
Excellent. You venture forth tomorrow. For now, you can take some time to get to know one another better. Or you can head straight to your guest rooms to get some rest. You'll find we've already prepared supplies for you there. And thank you again for agreeing to take part in this expedition. I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Thank you again, with all my heart, for replying to this call. The flare in your eyes reveals your courage, the unshakable will that distinguishes true heroes. I look at you, O champions of Reskov, and doubt not for a second that you'll be victorious. So venture forth toward your feet. Go and return in triumph.
Definitely a politician. So we get to mingle now.
Hi,
Uh,
my name's Ethan.
okay.
I'm a bard, though this is my first real adventure. So, shall we go teach this stag lord a lesson?
I'm Mr. Vendavega. Pleased to meet you.
Likewise. Actually, I also wanted to ask you something.
Okay.
How do you feel about this Tartuccio fellow?
A little arrogant.
I think he's pretty obnoxious personally. He appointed himself head of the team, and he's just after the Baron's crown, or whatever it is barons wear.
What do they
Doesn't
wear?
matter. I don't like him. I think you should be team leader. When I first saw you, I couldn't help but think, now here's a real hero. Someone who'll be praised in poems and songs. This is the person I'll write my book about.
So you're basing your heroism of me just on my appearance. Seems legit. But what is about a book?
Damn, I should have led with that. Please, just let me explain. You know what the trouble with most heroes' biographies is? They're always written years later, based on the tales of, best case, people who saw things from the outside. Worst case, someone heard about it from their brother, who heard it from their friend, who heard it from their cousin, and so on, adding a new batch of lies each time. Every time I read about a heroic journey, I think to myself, why didn't they just bring a bard with them to write it all down properly?
That's a fair question.
And then I thought, I could be that bard. I just needed to find a suitable hero and volunteer to follow along on their glorious adventure. A great plan, huh? And here we are, with a heroic journey lying before us. Who's going to be the hero? Some dwarf who keeps muttering about how we'll all die? Or maybe that horrific scythe lady? Or, God's forbid, Tartuccio? No way.
What about that barbarian? She looks pretty heroic. I think her name's Amari.
Oh, yeah, she's fantastic. You can tell she could tear a bear's head off with her bare hands, but she kind of scares me just a little. But, I mean, her sword's twice as big as I am. She could cut me down without even noticing. Just think on it a bit, all right? I'm sure you'll agree.
I really appreciate this use of language here. A bear's head, bare hands. Okay.
All right, I'm going to my room to write about tonight. See you in the morning.
See you in the morning. Sleep well. Okay, so now we're free. Okay, so our journal this is interesting. It is actually Lindsay's journal, and it's the book that she's writing. That's pretty cool. That's a cool uh, addition to the game to make it where it's not just this random journal that records stuff. It's actually your bard writing stuff down. Okay, so Esteban de Vega. Is that J or an I? J still? I still? Okay. Oh, so this is the Sky Lady she was talking about. Let's talk to her. Oh. We can't really talk to her. Kind of standard adventurers. Sartuccio. Okay, I'm not a layabout. Okay, so you can't really talk to anyone. Is there a highlight key? Right, so tab is your highlight key. In most of these games, it's tab. Occasionally, it's control or alt. Press the hold of the mouse button. I don't think we can rotate the camera, but we can move it. And also, we can pan on the edge. Okay, so without being able to actually talk to anyone, we're just going to go to our room for the. Okay, so what is this? This is A. Okay, so this is abilities. So find defensively and charging, which is also on our hotbar hotkey. And then B. This is your belt. Okay, so we have a potion of shield of faith and a potion of cure light wounds. Weapon sets. Click to expand weapon sets. So this is a bow. Okay, cool. They did give us a curved blade. Alright. Longbow, hand axe, curved blade. Well, let's go with curved blade. We can get rid of this set as soon as we can because we're not going to use that at all. We'll keep the bow though. Some diseases, poisons, and spells can deal damage directly to your character's ability scores. You can use lesser restoration or similar spells to heal such damage. Camping can also heal ability damage at a rate of 1 ability point per rest. Okay, so that's pretty standard. So, yeah, so if you're fighting a spider and the spider bites you, it might do normal damage and then a poison that can fail you a save. Uh, okay, what's going on?
The mansion's under attack. We need to help. Some villains broke in and started killing everyone. I barely made it. Hurry, we have to help the guards fight off the attackers or we'll all be cut down one by one.
Okay. This is not a big surprise. This happens a lot in these games where uh, the first night does not pass uneventfully. Combat happens real time. You can pause the game any time to assess the situation. Well, space. Okay. So it's based off of the D20 system. Oh, so even though it's real time, they do take an initiative check, and that determines how early they connect. We'll see that in one. Attack roll, damage, armor class, yeah.
Enemy approaching.
Okay, so here's the initiative check. I got 13. Okay, because the bonus is here. 11 plus 2. And then the assassin. Uh, got oh, is that a negative 3 initiative modifier? What the hell is that? You would think an assassin would be a little more quick than that. Okay, so here's the effect though. We see Istevan will take his action in 1 second, and the assassin will take their action in 3.5 seconds. Okay. Can we charge? We cannot charge. I wonder if we're too close. Okay, so we're just gonna
This
attack.
should do it.
Run pause. with various obvious bonus. Clicking on them. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Our class is 7. That's crazy low. These flat. This is weird to me. So we have our we had a good chance to hit. We have our base attack bonus, our strength, plus favorite enemy, plus weapon focus. So that's a good chance to hit. But it's crazy to me that this assassin has a -3 dexterity and or maybe he has a +3 dexterity bonus. Uh, but being flat-footed took it away. I have no idea. Anyway, I hope they get tougher than that because that's pretty easy. All right, let's buy. Clicked all. What kind of? Okay, so I got stone leather. And this is a chain shirt. The chain shirt's better. All right, take this out of here. Okay. So is there anything else in here? No. All right. So
All according to plan.
one thing
Be
that's
prepared.
common for these games is even though like just desperate situation where assassins are attacking and trying to kill everybody, uh, there's always time to loot. What would be interesting is if one day they made one of these games where
In due time.
you go around looting stuff and you get to the end and the person you're trying to save or people you're trying to save are already dead because you were busy looting instead. That'd be an interesting twist. But I doubt it happens here uh, because it's kind of designed for you to loot as you go. They've got someone. We have to help. Is that Tartusio? Do I care about Tartusio? I'm neutral good, so I guess I tear.
Victorious.
Alright, so let's see what we got here. Uh, I got a 12, Lindsay got a 12, got a 0, and an 8. Why do they have negative? I don't know. Can I charge? I can't charge. This one acts first, so we'll charge this one first. And then I don't control her. Okay. Whoa. Why did that take so long?
You're just in time. A bit longer and I'd have been... Whew, I don't even want to think about it. Can you imagine what a terrible loss this would have been? But it's all right now. I'm safe, sound, and unscathed, ready to lead you to victory.
How generous of you.
Lady Jamandi's holding the line in the banquet hall. You know, the one where she had us gathered before. We need to make our way to her. And along the way, we'll try to save some of these dummies who are supposed to accompany us to the stolen lands. Speaking of dummies, take this thing, quietly, so that little fool doesn't hear us. She might try to steal it herself. It's magical. It'll protect you. You'll need it while you work to defend me.
Okay. So, part of ring. So, what do we got here? Confucius present. +1 deflection bonus. Oh, so it's a ring of protection +1. That's pretty handy. Equip. Class up to 17. Awesome. Maybe he's not that bad after all. Right over there. Right over there. That door is not interactable, so we gotta go this way. Companions. 1 plus out of 6. Okay. coins and a copper ring.
They dare to attack me?
Okay, so Lindsay got 20. 11, 4. Okay. Now they're starting to get tougher. They don't have those minus threes anymore. Okay, so Lindsay is attacking. Here we got an assassin, a bowman, and a bowman. So normally in Pathfinder, there's a big penalty for attacking at range into melee unless you have a specific feat. So this guy is probably going to run up to Istvan, and then so we'll have Lindsay attack over him to this. And here, casting Ashen Splash. I can use an automatic mode. Activate by crickets. Okay. Okay, so now he's gonna just continuously cast this cantrip, and we'll have him target the same Roman as Lindsay. Istvan, you will fight that guy. Advanced combat, casting spells, blah blah. Abilities, charging, okay. Attacks opportunity. Yeah, so a lot of actions in Pathfinder provoke attacks opportunity, so you gotta be careful of that because it gives basically the enemy free attacks. Tactical time flow by holding down unknown binding. That's useful. While the game is paused, you can make time move slowly for better combat control. So is there okay, we didn't check these over here. Messages, auto saves, tooltip delays. Show part no HP. Show text XP, so HP bars. Okay. Show text okay, we'll go with that too. Alright, so I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I do want to see notifications. I don't want to see that. I do want to see that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. So I think everything else can be. Right? Huh. Interesting. Right. So, but control, right? What was it called? Tactical time? Slow, shift plus space or V. Okay. Let's check it out. V. Huh. Alright. So he's dead. He's going there. Alright. Kind of wounded. Can she heal? She can heal. Let's have her go ahead and start to heal him. And unpause.
Calm down. Not dead yet.
When a character's value drops to 0, they lose consciousness after combat is over. Dropping negative numbers, a character can survive negative hit points. But their amount becomes equal to the constitution score, the character dies. To resurrect them, you would get a special spell. Okay. Quick slots in the belt. Okay. So not bad. We got it a little tougher, definitely. Looks like we got a bunch of potions though. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. Collect wounds. Okay, so we're gonna give her one. And I'm gonna take 2 and call you in the morning. Okay. So the enemies are getting tougher as we go. So we'll see how it ends up by the end of this. Got some blood under this door. Everybody did. Okay. hall.
That is not far.
Hide armor and a heavy mace. All that's there. So it's a kitchen. Okay, so we're getting food. Okay, so here's a Murray.
It's the end for you rats!
Let's get there and help her.
Now victory is certain.
Well, looks like she's raiding, maybe. Alright. Can't charge anybody. So,
This will hurt.
him. You attack him. And you attack him.
Just die already! Oh!
Alright, so we get a Murray now.
Oh, it's you. Stay up from under my feet or I'll strike you down.
Blood for Gorum!
Okay, maybe we don't get a Murray now.
Barbarians.
I think that's exactly how heroes should be.
What, stupid, sweaty, and always looking for something to gobble up or lop the head off of? Calistria, save me from such heroes.
Okay. Uh, get some loot on. Coming through here. Okay, so assassins and guards. I feel like that's a mistake. Hey, you ugly bug. Get them. What the? That a frost giant? That is a frost giant. Uh, I don't know how we're supposed to kill that. Uh, guess we'll find out. Okay. Okay, get some free loots. Sorry, guys. Locked. Alright. Don't literally go that way either. Nothing with this.
As it
Okay.
should be.
Okay. Okay. What's this? Secure locked.
Across, please.
Okay, so it looks like we passed it.
Can you
In
make an
due
epic
time.
pose? I need inspiration.
Can't charge. Can charge. So we charge there.
Any last
Attack
wishes?
him. Attack him.
To get my hands dirty again. I'm wounded.
Ow, that hurt.
This was not part of the plan.
So, got -3. Okay, we got each other down. Alright. I'm at pretty low health though. And definitely that puts that as us at greater risk of dying. But I think we have enough healing potions that we should be able to just top back up. Yeah, so one thing, it's cool to have these to use in combat, but drinking a potion in the tabletop game provides an attack opportunity, so it probably does here too. So yeah, you run the risk of trying to heal yourself with a potion in combat and getting the extra hit and leaving yourself either the same or worse for wear. So I'm going to focus on using them out of combat, and that worked pretty well. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's super cool. Like it's showing the potions added to his belt. That's pretty awesome. Huh? Does it do it for them too? Let's see. Wait a minute. Is that a scroll case? It is a scroll case. Wow, that's really detailed. I mean, now oh, he does. It's just hit him by the crossbow. Now I'm even more impressed. Yeah, there's a potion ball right there. I mean, that is impressive. Like, say what you will about other aspects, but the fact that they show potions and scrolls added to your belt, that's pretty impressive. Uh, Making range attacks in melee also for attacks opportunity. So I think I want to give them a melee weapon to use just in case they uh, get into close combat. I'm gonna add the dagger. How about that? She's a bard though. She can use more than a dagger. So let's take that dagger off and give her a long sword, which goes on her back. Interesting. Okay. In the armory, I'm sure Jamandi wouldn't mind if we borrowed some weapons. Let's talk about this. Oh, it's locked. Okay, so Lindsay says secret's locked. Cool. So what kind of good stuff's in here? Okay, we already do that. Banded mail. Okay. Breastplate. What's this? Watchkeeper's key. I wonder why that's a different color. Ugh, tower shield? I don't want that. Composite longbow. And a master mace. Okay, so actually, let's just longbow. Let's swap that out for a composite longbow. Um, and then let's go to Lindsay and actually take this longsword off and use this master white mace. Oh, so it's on the back. Okay. Oh, there's the head of it. I guess it's hidden behind the quiver and her hair. Okay, but it's on her back. All right. Cool, cool. So this thing. Let's see what this is.
What have we here? This chest is full of gold. I guess it's for the guards' salaries, all things considered. Well, those freeloaders don't seem to have been working too hard for it. Maybe we should pocket it instead.
Mm,
What? No, we're heroes, not thieves.
Who said we were stealing it? We'll just take the gold for safety so the assassins don't get it. And then we can heroically return it to Jamandi when this is all over.
no, I think we're not going to do that. That doesn't sound like a good thing to do. All right, no distractions. Haven't forgotten? They're
Hey,
trying to kill
hey,
us.
voice of reason.
Do what you want. I don't care. It was just a suggestion. But there's a lot of money in that chest, and with all these bandits running around, it wouldn't be any better if they stole it.
Yeah, I don't think you're altruistic.
All according to plan.
Encumbrance. Okay. Right, so this way.
Oh, familiar faces. I hope you're not so frightened as to swing at every shadow. It's me, Jathan. I don't recommend advancing down the hallway, assuming you value your life, of course. There were a few people with me, and you can see what happened to them.
Okay, they're not looking too well.
And just how did they all end up dead while you don't seem to have a scratch?
I'll answer but briefly and just
Yes.
once. Further scares and explanations will wait until we aren't being hunted by a group of assassins. Deal? All right. I'm undead.
Uh,
These traps are deadly to the living, but they're harmless to me.
okay. Hmm. I wish developers of these games would stop putting undead characters in the game. I know some people think they're cool. I think they're terrible. Uh, they have to have a different healing system than anyone else. Um, and also, if she's gonna be forced to be a story companion, and I was playing, let's say, a paladin or a cleric of a good aligned god, why would I not just destroy her instantly? It doesn't make any sense. But someone somewhere who keeps making these games keeps thinking that undead are super cool to put in as character or as companions, and I wish they would stop. Regardless, here
What
we
do
go.
you mean undead? Really? Like zombies or skeletons or.
As I said, further explanations will wait until later. All you need to know right now is that we're on the same side, and we have to fight off a small army of hired assassins. Let's get to it.
Traps. So perception sees them and trickery disables them. And if you fail by enough, then they go off anyway. So I think she is more frontline than the other two, so move her up. What is this over here? Okay, this is stealth, and this is the AI. Okay, let's go in this room.
How curious.
Alright, so it looks like this is the person with the highest trickery to do it, which makes sense. I guess that's why she picked the lock earlier, too, as well.
What a surprise.
Okay, we don't want to step on that, so.
Applause, please.
How curious.
Anything else?
Okay, I open the door. Chainmail and a Fouchard. Now, my character can wear up to medium armor, um, which would improve his armor class, but it also slows his speed to 20. And I'm not sure how much of an effect that would have in this game. But for right now, I want to keep it at 30, so I'm going to keep in the light armor.
Follow my lead.
Okay, so the scroll is use item that allows you to spells written on it. Which has to use my device skill or vehicle class, which could eventually learn to cast a spell. Okay, so they can also be put in quick slots. What are you dallying for? I'm telling you, Jemania's cage has to be right here somewhere. But hurry it up before.
Enemy approaching.
Okay, charge him. Then her to attack him.
Unworthy. This is where
Bam.
I step in.
Oh,
Out
bam.
of my way!
Alright. We are Find an open occasion. This one will. So this gives us like a side quest, I guess.
I know what to do.
All the loots. I guess that means that you can do something with these. Does it do anything different? No. Alright.
In due time.
Ah, so there's more here. So I'm gonna need either all the swords up or all the swords down, I'm guessing. And I'm going to, at least for now, I think we'll try up first. Start with the one that's farthest away. Okay. Hmm. So okay. So oh wait. Right. So if I go and do this guy now, he should go up. He should go up, and he should. All right. So uh, okay. So must be another room. Wow. Yeah, there it is. So we got. All right. Not seeing anything too useful. Yeah, that's the normal right. Yeah, it's just so okay. So basically, just valuable items. No super weapons or we got a potion. What was that? We move blindness. Okay, that's so one thing that Pathfinder that's funny is a lot of times if you find something, you know you're gonna need it soon. Like you go into when you find a potion to remove blindness, a lot of times in like a didn't come from this way. Yeah, a lot of times like a fight very soon from there will require that potion. So hopefully not, because blindness does not sound fun.
That is not far.
Oh, see, we have to drop on these
Time
guys,
is not waiting.
but we can't charge because this is in the way. All right,
Like I said,
can start
seriously,
shooting
relax.
him,
Don't tolerate
shooting
fools.
him, pick her around him.
No mistakes.
Okay,
We will be victorious.
we got another one down here. Okay, so at this point, still can't charge. So we're gonna
We
come on
will
to
try
him.
this way.
She's still gonna go there, but we're gonna switch our range to
You deserved it.
dealing with this bowman.
Leave this one to me.
Uh, Tattooshi was too close. Alright, doesn't matter now.
This was not part of the plan.
Ooh. hit, but not enough to kill me. Okay. And he was taken down at the same time. Alright. Unfortunately, it's going to take some more of our healing potions. Help the wounded. Okay, so that gloomy dwarf was over there. Alright. First, oh, there we go. Oh, wait, let's loot the bodies.
Grotus, I can sense your silhouette hovering over
Sometimes
me.
skills are checked to close
It
dialogue.
won't be much longer.
Okay.
Soon we shall meet, O Lord of Oblivion.
Aren't you getting premature?
You're wrong. Who would know better than I the severity of my own wounds? I can feel the last drops of vital force
Okay.
leaving me.
Let's be more forceful. Quit the
I
act.
can't hear you. I'm being
Up, you faker! Just look at him! Dying, he says. What a buffoon! Come on!
It seems I will live. I suppose I must go stone meeting my god. It's long, I'm sure. But while we remain in this transient world, Erin is at your service.
Okay, weird. Click on that. Loot that guy. Spoken version. Clerics and Jews can convert their spells spontaneously. Cleric Gulami doesn't need to. Okay, yeah, so they can um, convert their spells to healing, which is useful. Do they have channel positive energy?
Practice awaits us.
Plus Bane. What is this? Okay, so that's how you convert it. Charge, treat affliction, channel positive energy, heal living. Okay. Channel positive energy, damage undead, and touch of chaos. All right. What is S? Okay, S is spellbook. All right. Let me check and see what everybody is. Let's see. So she is. Oh, she's an inquisitor. Okay. We know she's a bard. He's a sorcerer. Okay, and then we know he's a cleric. All right. Let's see what's down here. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, so another hidden area. So we had the armory, the like statue room, logistical ring, but a master block sword, so that's handy. And then let's go up here. Victory. Okay, yeah, so we do want to move the door up. I'll leave it and put it up. Maybe we can do this kind of thing. What is this? What are these custom? Okay, so let's that there, and over here, kind of there, and then Tetris shield. Okay, I like it.
As it should be.
Can't go through that door. Oh, okay, so these are good guys. A name.
You, run and get an axe. You, bring more water. You, stay here and hold our defense. Those assassins are still around here somewhere. Aha! Some of our guests survived. Good. You need to get to the banquet hall and help Lady Jamandi.
What's going on here?
Someone opened the gate, let in a group of assassins in the middle of the night. Now they've set the mansion on fire to cut off access to the hall. They don't want Lady Jamande to get reinforcements. We cleared the passage so you can get through. Just try to avoid inhaling the smoke. We'll be right behind you. We just need to put out the fire first to save the mansion.
Do you need help putting out the
We'll
fire?
manage. I've got my best people here, those who still live. Your place is by Lady Aldori's side.
It doesn't seem right. What if some of the guards are wounded? We need to help them.
Where's the
You just
hall?
have to run through the fire. We've almost put it out at the entrance, so your main concern should be to not inhale any smoke. Hold your breath and take the first right, then head straight down the hallway.
I'll go
May
immediately.
Abadar keep you safe.
And, this is a law merchant wealth. Okay. So we come in through here. Let's see. Of course, this is like a lot like the Pillars of Eternity kind of skill challenge sections. All right. Uh, and so our adventure started. Earlier and much more tragic than we expected. The whole team who gathered in the hall yesterday had been reduced to but a handful of brave souls, led by Esteban de Vega, and not at all by that scoundrel Tartuccio, no matter what he might have imagined of himself. Jamandi Aldori was waiting for us, but to get to her, we had to march through fire. Literally. As we approached the burning building, So I'm gonna trust the guy we talked to who said the fire was pretty much out, even though it looks like it's not. And we just had to not inhale stuff, so we're gonna do cover our noses and mouths before we rushed inside. It was a good thing we hadn't wasted any time. After entering the building and taking just a few steps forward, the wall behind us slanted and crashed down with a terrible crackling sound, blocking the way back. While we may not have planned on going back, if we'd come in a little later, the flaming logs and mid-hot bricks would have fallen right on our heads. Regardless, we were left with only one way to go. The hot air burned our lungs, and our eyes watered from the smoke. But Esteban de Vega had led us stubbornly through the flames, while Tortuccio did nothing useful at all. We made it to the hallway leading to the banquet hall when we heard someone calling for us. It was Valerie, one of the guards I'd chatted with a bit in the banquet hall. Even then, in that calm setting, I'd been stunned by her beauty. But now, amid the smoke and flame, she looked like a celestial avenger, an armored deity, menacing but beautiful and merciful, descending from the higher spheres to help us poor mortals. She held a burned, barely living guard in her arms. "There are two more," she shouted as she passed us by. "They are wounded. Help me pull them out." Tartuccio grumbled something about how Jamandi was waiting for us. Meanwhile, Esteban de Vega, yeah, rushed to save the arts of the fire. Saving the poor fellows didn't take long. Together we lifted them up and carried them away from the fire. Only then did Valerie pause to catch her breath and wipe the sweat from her face. "Thank you. That was truly noble of you," she said. "And now, let us rush to Lady Aldori's aid." Ensuring the guards we rescued were relatively safe, we made our way to the hall, where the battle was already in full swing. The character is fatigued. Uh, so what is she?
And your shield.
She is a tarot shield specialist. She definitely needs to go on the front. But now we need to adjust our custom formation. Okay, so we're gonna back, move you back. We're definitely gonna put you in the front. Put the dwarf yonder. I actually put the dwarf in the middle. Put you back there. Burn. And then Tartuccio. Alright. Let's select everybody. Okay. I still don't want that tower shield, so it's a nice option though. If you don't loot everything, you can just pick it up at the end. That's pretty nice. That's a lot of energy. Okay, so Lady Jamandi is. Oh, dang. I'm gonna get busted up. Okay, move
All
forward.
according to plan.
To victory!
Oh, alright. Let's have you charge. Can you reach? Yeah. Charge the spellcaster. Move forward. So she is Inquisitor, so she should have some, judgments. I think we're gonna use healing judgment on. Okay, let's have the dwarf do a bless. Our bard should have, yes, inspire courage. So Tartuccio is gonna start attacking this guy. She can attack that guy too. Okay, dwarf is doing bless. She's attacking. Let's have you attack that one. Okay. So I took a hit going through there, but I killed the spellcaster. Now I'm moving to the other spellcaster. Tartuccio, what are you doing? Okay, so your Harem's about to cast Blessed. Okay, Bless is up. Okay, he's down. Let me
This should do it.
actually before we do that, let's call for potion. And now
A
let's go.
calculated risk.
Here comes Amari.
This will hurt.
What's going on? Okay. So I saw a cause fear go off, so I think it made her run away. Is Zunky key? Oh, okay. So his mirror images are gone. He's down. Start attacking the. Start attacking that spellcaster. Valerie. And that way too. Alright. Good job. loot everybody. Nice. Okay. Oh, we can do the flash giant too. Sweet. Clean shirt and a great axe. Not that exciting, but I'll take it.
Thank you for your valor and bravery. The enemy was strong, but you were stronger. And that means I made the right choice. Just as I thought, there were worthy leaders among you. I'm especially grateful to them for the courage and common sense they showed while defending the mansion. But this attack means we have even less time than I thought. Someone already knows of our plans and is acting against us. You'll begin your expedition immediately.
Lady Aldori, please, I know who arranged this attack.
About
Your
King
king
of
attacks
Protects.
Irovetti. What's more, I know who among us works for him. Hey, you! Show everyone the ring you're wearing. You think I wouldn't recognize Irovetti's seal? That's why he wasn't killed. The bandits recognized him as one of their own by this signet ring.
That little rat. It's the ring he gave me. And it has the King of Protects' seal. Man, alright. Takashu was trying to set me up. He's the one who gave me this ring.
Yes. Such a gambit would be typical of Iravetti and his henchmen. And yet, it still seems suspicious. There's definitely a spy among us. But who? All I have is one word against another. I'm afraid you're both under suspicion.
I bet my life despise anyone but this man. I saw how he dealt with those creeps with my own eyes. A true warrior. I'd go with him through hell and high water. This purple crook, on the other hand, he's got the eyes of a spy and the mug of a spy.
Appreciate that, Amari. Appreciate your support.
Lady Aldori, don't listen to this thick-headed barbarian. She doesn't know what she's talking about. During the attack, our leader showed his true colors. He forced us to break into the armory and rob it.
You little rat. Oh. Alright. Come out just past my defense. Neither one of these is really true because we had all the weapons we needed at that point. Um, but let's be more diplomatic.
Considering the circumstances, that was more than reasonable.
Okay, so that was a lawful interaction. Right?
That was a sound decision. Sometimes one must act at one's own risk and peril, until crossing the boundaries of what is allowed. Showing initiative is no crime.
It is insane when faced with death to stop and question whether you may be breaking some law or rule. Even more insane would be to ask forgiveness for making the right decision.
Sounds like he is
Sorry, but your words
chaotic in alignment.
display a lack of wisdom.
What about that trick he pulled right before we came in here? He knew very well you were fighting the enemy, but instead of rushing to help you, he dallied as long as he could, dropping everything to save people from the fire, even though the guards were handling things just fine. He was obviously hoping to show up too late and find you already dead.
Now I don't like this guy. It's a good thing we didn't take the guard wages. I can't imagine what that would do. People were dying right in front of me. How could I just walk by? And we're not saying them without good reason. This was useless. But the wounded could help. I think this is the more good response. This is more like a. I mean, this is a sound reason, but this is the more like I'm just doing it to be good, and that's what neutral good kind of is.
Really, Tartuccio? You're seriously trying to blame someone for saving people from a fire?
May Shellen spare me from ever having to make such a choice, but he behaved decently as a true leader.
A true leader is someone who has their priorities
How about that?
Enough squabbling. I'm still not sure which of you I can trust. However, the risk of entrusting the whole affair to a spy is too great. Here's what we'll do. Two teams will head out. That way, I'll know at least one group can be counted on to serve my interests in the stolen lands.
Okay, so based on what just happened, I'm going to guess that the barbarian and the tower shield specialist and the bard's going to come with me, and the dwarf and the undead elf is going to go with Tartusio. That leaves me with three melee physical damage dealers, which is not ideal, but we'll do what we can.
Lady Aldori, most of those who are to set off for the stolen lands have been killed. Those who yet live will require help. Please allow me to join the expedition.
I'm sad to lose such a talented warrior. But you're right, Valerie. They have greater need of you right now. Go, and may Abadar keep you. Which of the two teams would you prefer to accompany?
If my leader allows, I would join his team. He seems a worthy commander in my eyes.
Of
Commanders,
course.
military leaders, all these laws and rules are but dust and vanity. I suppose I will accompany Tortuccio.
Our leader is good in battle, but I don't like all the spiritual agonizing. I prefer those who can act without wasting time helping every little pipsqueak.
Pointless
Please join
kindness.
Tartuccio.
Alright.
Tartuccio's going to take the credit for himself and be done with it. Shellen, spare me from such allies. I'm going with you. You're a hero worthy of my quill.
I don't even need to think. I'm coming with this man. As for you, Purple Toad, just wait until we meet along the way. I'll be sure to hang your rotten spy guts from the trees.
That's right. You tell them.
All right, we have two teams. To avoid unnecessary conflict on the road, you'll each take a different route to the stolen lands. Tartuccio's team will go through Navacta's crossing. The garrison commandant will provide him all the help he needs. You will take your team to Oleg Leviton's trading post. He's been complaining about the Stag Lord's bandits for a while now. There, you'll be provided with all the necessary travel supplies.
Silent scroll. Oh. Does that mean we don't need the diamond? Okay, we'll see.
I'd like to believe you, but I know all too well how convincing traitors and spies can be. If you're truly innocent, I hope you can forgive me this precaution.
Sure, sure.
While you're away, Keston will investigate the night's events and learn who in Restov is working for Patox. But you should know that it isn't just Patox we need to worry about. The royal house of Sertova may also interfere in our plans. I've managed to keep this affair a secret from them so far, but that can't last long. By my estimations, you have no more than 3 months. After that, any feats you accomplish will be pointless.
Okay, so hopefully you don't have 3 months for the whole game. Hopefully it's 3 months to establish your kingdom. But I guess we'll find out.
And now, farewell. This battle was but the first ordeal along your path, and you overcame it as true champions of Restov. May the obstacles that follow also fall to your feet. Fear nothing, my friends, and return victorious.
We shall do so. Okay. So, cool black screen. There we go.
Surviving a terrible night, our small team set off to brave our fate. Beware, stolen lands. Heroes are on the way.
Alright, so we have our party together. Let's see what we got going on here. She's got banded mail. We sort this. Let's go weight in descending order. Chainmail, banded mail, breastplate. It's funny that chainmail, being medium armor, is heavier than banded mail, or chainmail being medium armor being heavier than the heavy armor. But she already has heavy armor here, so not much we can gain from that. What is this? Okay, so she has a master bastard sword. Okay, so she can use the other chain shirt. Oh. Unless. Okay, so the chain shirt puts her over medium. So we're going to keep her as light. Keep her in that leather armor. What about studded leather? Oh, still medium. Alright. How heavy is this? 4 pounds. How heavy is this? Also 4 pounds. Okay. Yeah, that's this for now. She has a ginormous sword. It's a magic sword already. Oversized. So you can right click and get more information. Right. So 3 to 17, 2d8 plus 1 enhancement. Okay, this weapon is large, deals damage, but attacks with suffer a penalty of -2 to attack rolls. That kind of sucks. But it's got plus 1 enhancement. So she's right now actually at a -1 to hit overall. We could give her the Great Axe, and then that would bring her to +4 with the Invisible Axe. Um, 3 to 17 versus 1 to 12, -1 to hit. So we'll probably stay with this and just see how it turns out. If we need to, we can switch to the Great Axe for the better hit chance. But for now, we'll stay with her iconic weapon. But she only has hide armor, so we can probably use breastplate. Got her armor class up to 17. And she's still at 30 feet because she has fast movement. Alright. So the rest of this is just kind of dead weight, but hopefully we can sell it. Sell it for a profit. Alright. So I think we're going to end it here for now. Let's save the game. Let's call this a place to belong. And so when we pick up next time, we'll journey to Olag's training post, and from thence into the Stolen Lands, wherever that is on here. Okay. So thanks for checking it out. I hope you enjoy the game. Oh, that's cool. Thanks for checking it out. Hope you enjoyed the game. You enjoyed the gameplay, and I'll see you for part 2 another time. We've already saved this, so we're good.